If you're a WWF Hasbro fan, then you surely know all about the unreleased Orange Card series that was supposed to be anchored by the very first figure of Kevin Nash's character, Diesel. However, because the license ended, that never came out. In 2019, Mattel gave us this in their retro line. However, it didn't really live up to hype or expectations because it didn't look like the original concept art. However, today, we got these. From Grapplers and Gimmicks and Hasbro Toy, we got 3 new Diesels, and one of them looks just like the concept art. And we're unboxing them today. Stay tuned. Get excited because Big Daddy Cool is back in retro form. He is going to fit in perfectly with your Hasbro collection. Now, that's not to say that Mattel did a bad job on this one. I don't really consider retros by WWE Mattel to really fit in with Hasbro's. I think they're a little bulkier, but still, they have their place in the collection. I do love that they have actual actions, whereas, you know, independent companies, they don't really need actions because these are more so made for collectors. So it is cool that he has that. However, it's not authentic to the actual intended action that Diesel was going to have. He was going to have that pullback punch action, all right? And we got Hasbro Toy, Mitch, Grapplers and Gimmicks doing God's work right there. Check that out. 3, count them, 3 new Diesel figures. One of them, on the orange card obviously, is almost identical to that unreleased concept art and prototype head sculpt that we've seen floating around the internet for ages. The other 2 are big, sexy, Big Daddy Cool Diesel with the long flowing locks, looking like $1,000,000, and I'm excited about both of them. All right, so we're gonna start off with the long hair right here, and we're gonna talk about it. So, one thing about this, okay? Diesel, Kevin Nash, was Mitch's wife's favorite wrestler. And that is the biggest driving force behind him doing this figure. Okay? Which is why there is a memorial for his wife on the back of the card. You'll notice it says, in loving memory of Danielle Alexandra, this one is for you. All proceeds from this collectible will be donated in memory of Danielle, which I think is awesome. We have the concept art right there. It says May 27, 2025. So that's my mom's birthday that this was designed on, only a couple months from concept to in hand. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. We're talking about 3 months, not even, that he banged this out. So very, very cool. You'll notice on the back, there's another Kevin Nash figure. So stay tuned for that unboxing as well. Over here is Kevin Nash 94. These ones represent him in 1995. We've got the shot of Kev right there, the Diesel signature, the jackknife powerbomb action. Very cool, but we want to rip this open and take a look at this work of art. I've been saying it for months, years now actually. Mitch over at Hasbro Toy is doing some of the best retros on the market, and this one is no different. Let's talk about the likeness on this. Looks just like Kevin Nash, and check that out. Even has his signature mole right there. He's in those leather pants with the fringe in silver. The way I've never seen anybody else have their ring gear pants look like this, where it's got the little belt that's got 3 notches on it. The singlet top that says Diesel. Elbow pads, wrist tape. Of course, you got to have the signature glove so he can hold that hand up like that, which is awesome. And then even has Kevin Nash's tattoos on there. Well done. And look at those flowing locks, man. Great detail there. No stone left unturned. I also love, check that out, the knuckles cut out of the glove. Let's see how he stands. Beautifully, man. Love this figure. I am over the moon for this. Again, these are available at HasbroToy.com. I had to pick these up with the quickness. Not to mention, I had a little intel from Mitch a couple months ago that this was coming and being expedited. So I am thrilled about these, man. Kev is a legend in professional wrestling, and I really think that if that original Hasbro came out, that it would be a holy grail of the whole collection. Because obviously they would be limited, kind of like the green cards. And I think instead of 1, 2, 3 Kid being a later grail, this would have been astronomically more expensive. That's just my take on how things would have went if the original Diesel came out. Now, we have this one right here, the 1 of 500 Diesel Power 1995 Diesel, which is pretty cool. Same as the one we just did, however, has a different singlet top. All right, 1 of 500. So I am keeping this one mint on card, but I wanted to show you guys a little bit of how it's going. Check that out. The only real difference is the Diesel Power singlet top, which is pretty cool. This is very reminiscent of that recent Royal Rumble Elite that he got. However, it's different time period, but still very, very cool. Everything else is the same. The silver fringe tattoos. So I didn't really feel a need to open this one. Plus, I love limited figures mint on card. And that sticker, if you don't know, is supposed to replicate the old KB Toys sticker that would have 3 for $10 on it and stuff. And I love that he does that. I kind of have a whole collection of these like this. So I'm keeping this one mint on card because I think that's how it deserves to be. But it is time to take a look at the figure we have been waiting 30 years for. The orange card Diesel. And you'll notice that this figure has a completely different head sculpt. All right. Has some different arm molds right there on the left side. Different image of Kev there because, again, this is early Diesel, 1994. He's got the jackknife punch instead of the jackknife powerbomb. And on the back, we also have more artwork. And this one was designed on the 16th of May, 2025. We didn't look at this one. When was the Diesel Power one done? Same. The 27th. All right. So let's rip into this and see what it's all about. Whew. It's so beautiful on card. I think I got to get another one to keep mock, but you know what? The camera is rolling and we got to keep it going. We're taking this bad boy out. And I want to compare this one to the one that we got by Mattel. Okay. So there he is. Again, same legs. He's got all of the fringe there, the same belt, silver notches, but on this one he has the black fringe, as he should, which is fitting for the era. The signature Diesel logo, which again is the same as the one we just did. Okay. Different head, different designs. I'm down with it. This one has a left arm that is open because he was going to have basically that. It was basically going to be the Papa Shango body if this came out in the Hasbro line. All right, he's got that fist that he can raise up. Nothing on the back, but the real star of the show here is that head sculpt. That is exactly how Hasbro intended to do it. He was going to have the shades on. He was going to have the mouth open. You could see a little bit of tongue, a little bit of teeth, and then that short little mullet in the back. Now, when Mattel did it, they tried to replicate that likeness. However, they kept the mouth closed, shades on, and of course, that shorter mullet. However, this is brown hair. I think this one is a little bit more fitting. Let's see how they scale together. So, right there you can see the Mattel towers over the retro style grapplers and gimmicks because that's how all Mattel retros are. They kind of tower over Hasbro's and they don't really fit in my opinion. I feel like they're their own shelf. Whereas things like Grapplers and Gimmicks, Zombie Sailor Toys, and KWK can all fit in with your Hasbro collection. So let's get him out of there. This is a fronter for sure in the collection. I mean, this is a figure that I wanted as a kid. I heard all about it. Never saw any pictures of it until I was in high school. And now, thanks to Mitch over at Hasdell Toy and Grapplers and Gimmicks, we can add it to our collection. Very, very cool. The quality is nice. The paint apps are nice and clean. The likeness is there. I love that he included the mold. The mole on all of these molds for the head looks great. He knocked this out of the park. Great detail in the hair, great detail in the face. Looks like young Kev. All three of them look like Kevin Nash. but the tattoos were a nice plus because you'll notice that Mattel one I showed you is tattoo-less. So I am stoked about this, man. We've got 3 new Diesel figures to add to the collection and the retro shelf. Trying to get them to stand there. There we go. But what more could you ask for? Shout out to our friend Mitch over at Hastel Toy because he is bringing the heat with all kinds of figures. So make sure you go over to hasteltoy.com and pick these up. And stay tuned for that unboxing of Oz. That is Kevin Nash's WCW character from the early 90s where he wore an old man mask and would take it off in the ring. So cool. One of the coolest figures I think that Mitch has put out. So unique and something I never thought we would get in figure form. So stay tuned for that. Hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at FigHeel. Twitter is at TheFigHeel. Pick up the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, available now on Amazon.com, or go to heelbooks.com. And we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thank you for joining me and Big Sexy. Peace. Are you a wrestling figure collector of WWE, Mattel, AEW, Jazzwares, and everything in between? Then you need FigHeel's Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, the modern edition covering all releases from 2010 to present day. Featuring over 7,000 photos of action figures from the hottest brands, including independent toy makers. Keep track of what you have, want, and need, including loose, mock, and overall collection value. With figure photography by Matthew Goldberg, the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia is a must-have for collectors. Full-color paperback and hardcover editions available now at heelbooks.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at FigHeel. Pick up my book series on Amazon and my merchandise on ProWrestlingTees.com/FigHeel. Join my official sponsor, Whatnot, at whatheel.com and receive $15 off your first purchase.